Welcome Amakhosi Network, welcome to the channel. So, Kaizer Chiefs won the Home of Legends Cup in the Eastern Cape at the Nelson Mandela Stadium. Well done to Amakhosi, Amakhosi for life. A lot of you will be asking yourselves, why didn't this guy make this video yesterday? Why didn't he make it? And the truth is, the reason why I didn't make it is that I didn't know how I felt about this cup. But before we get into that, please like, comment, and subscribe. Subscribe. Number one, I didn't know how I felt about this cup. Number one, they didn't televise the games. So when we going to talk about the game as for what it is, we can only talk about the numbers and what we hear. We can't really talk about what we saw. So, for example, Chiefs drew 0-0 with Sundowns. We don't know if Chiefs actually had a decent performance, or we don't know if Sundowns was dominating and Chiefs was just trying to stay in the game. And then number two is when Chiefs played Golden Arrows. We don't know how good the performance is, but we did see some highlights of the goals from the people who were in the stadium. So it showed us an idea of the goals, but we can't really comment on the full performance, So I don't know what's the takeaway from this performance besides a moral booster. A moral booster in terms of Kaizer Chiefs finally beating Sundowns. And yeah, they beat two opponents in one day. And the team was basically similar. There wasn't too many changes, which is one thing I questioned at some point in time. But anyway, that is just me. And then the second thing why I didn't want to talk about this cup is just because of the controversy around this cup. Because a lot of you all know the guys went to Sundowns and Ngcobo's studio, and the guy, a former football player, he is the one who he says he came up with the concept. Allegedly, he says he came up with the concept, and when he came out to the concept, he said he took it to the Nelson Mandela Bay, somewhere in Eastern Cape, I don't know the board, and he presented this idea of Kaizer Chiefs, Golden Arrows, Cheaper and Sundowns playing in the cup, and basically the whole format that we're seeing the Home of Legends doing, he proposed this to the board back in 2019 before COVID and stuff like that. And then COVID hit, and then when COVID hit, they put a pause on his plans, but they told him that they had approved his plan, and he wanted 6 million to make the tournament a success. And the board and everyone, they said they approved of his plan. They were just waiting for the time and to get the finances to do it and stuff like that. And so it was a thing of we are going to do the thing. The Eastern Cape people have basically, the council or whoever is the body there has accepted, and we are going to host this tournament. Then Jiggy this year, this guy and his team find out that this cup is going to happen, but they are not the ones who are going to be doing the cup. So he was confused as to how can this cup happen and be the exact same cup that we did. The only difference is there's a change of name. But then the teams that I proposed are there. Everything that he proposed is there. And the other part that makes it a bit strange is that the guy whose company won this bid to host the Home of Legend, he was actually in the board that this guy, the former player, presented his original idea back in 2019. So basically, it's like going into a meeting and you saying, like, let's say let's make an example with Mr. Please Call. Imagine you go to to the board and you tell these guys, look guys, I think it would be good if we introduce Please Call Me for Vodacom. I think it will be good for the company. And all of them are like, you know what, that's a great idea. Let's take it. We're going to create it, Please Call Me and stuff like that, etc. Then they say, hey, we can't do it right now. We don't have money. Then they leave you. Then they're like, but we're going to do it. And it is your idea, we're going to do it. Then years later, you all of a second Sunday see an advert where they say, please call me. But they're not calling it, please call me. They say, please belela me. And then they're like, how? Then you're like, Mara, isn't this my idea? Then it turns out that the person who now proposed this new idea was actually on the board. I know I went on a long way, but I'm trying to give a practical example of something we're facing today. But anyway, let's get into the real crux of it. What is our takeaway? Our takeaway is that we love seeing Mfundo Vilakazi scoring. We love seeing that they brought Koza and Hosana into the setup. These are left backs. They're basically the two left backs. Hosana has actually been doing well. He helped, I believe it's the under-20 qualify for the AFCON. That could qualify them for the World Cup if they win or not win. I think you have to come top 3 to qualify for the World Cup for the under-20s, and that was a good thing. So that is the good things we picked out of the game. Nkosi Ngcobo scored. Another good thing, it seems like they started to trust him. Mthethwa played, I believe, both games, and apparently he did do well. We obviously can't say it's for real, but the things we are hearing that he had decent performances as a natural 6. So what does that mean? That means that if Mthethwa is starting to cook, and he's starting to play the way he played at Stellenbosch, then something good is going to come up from that. If they don't force him to do things that are not naturally him, they must just make him do what he was doing at Stellis, and that's where his game will flourish. So that is Mthethwa. We don't really have other information of other players. Apparently, Ranga Chivavero was missing tap-ins. I don't know, but this goes back to arguments I'm having with you guys on chat. I've been having this argument on chat. So I was chatting to someone in the chat, and he argues that we need midfielders more than we need a striker. And I was telling the guy, I was like, no, I'm not disputing that we need midfield. We do. We need Abu Faisal, Saloom, etc. Those are the kind of midfielders we need, top quality midfielders. But the most important thing is a striker, because even if we get top quality midfielders, if there's no one who can put the ball in the back of the net, then there's no use. There is no use. You see what I mean? There is no use. It's like saying you have we need a strong strong tiling in the ground, but your roof has bubbles. So what is your plan? Either way, you need to fix the most important things. That's what I'm trying to say. So a striker is very important. Why I'm saying the striker is very important. In the past games we've played the game we drew against Magesi and Supersport, Oranga has just been a non-existent player. And this is one thing I always argue with people. And I try to tell people this, but I don't think people understand. People think that a striker should only be someone who is scoring one-on-ones, and a striker should be someone who's scoring tap-ins. But in my book, a striker is more than that. A striker needs to be able to create those chances for himself. There are games, guys, where a striker will barely have, it will be difficult to get a chance. But we need a striker who can create his own space. Ranga Chivavero is that kind of striker who, when we say create a chance for yourself, he will shoot from halfway. That is Ranga Chivavero creating a chance for himself. It's not something where he'll get the ball on the edge of the area, turn and put a nice placement, the keeper saves, and those are the kind of things. And that's why I'm saying the strikers we've had in the past are often strikers that can make a plan out of nothing. When things are rough, they can just come up with a quick plan, and then something gets sorted out. But with Ranga Chivavero, I've been arguing for a long time that he can't even score those tap-ins that we are creating for him. He can't score them. But now we expect him to also create chances for himself, and he can't score those as well. He can't even create those. That's why I'm saying we need a striker. And to conclude on this, I know Cornelius is one who's been hampering me about the Steve Barker. And I want to make this clear point, because I've been saying Steve Barker. When I say Steve Barker, I'm talking about Stellenbosch. So people don't get me wrong. When I say Steve Barker is a good coach, I'm talking about him at Stellenbosch. Because him at Amazulu, at Black Aces, at Tugs, he was not a good coach, which means he is now a good coach because of his system and his environment at Stellenbosch. The Stellenbosch backroom staff, the Stellenbosch assistants, the Stellenbosch people who are running Stellenbosch are so good that they are helping Steve Barker shine. And my argument was this: if I take Siad Ramovic right now and I put him in Stellenbosch, he will continue to give the results that Steve Barker is getting, just because of how good the Stellenbosch structure is. If I take Kevin Hunt, if I even take Abu Adazwane, they will find a way to be better coaches at Stellenbosch because of what Stellenbosch does in the background, how they support the players and all of that. Stellenbosch is an institution, if you don't know. It's a very big institution. They are heavy into sports. Some of the best rugby players come from there. Some of them, now we're seeing it with the football players that are also starting to come out of those areas. But anyway, this is my point on that Steve Barker. The Steve Barker and Stellenbosch have been producing great players, or they're getting the players to perform at their best because of their analytics and all of the things that they're doing, which is why we see Fawaz Behardien and Mthethwa, all these people who came from pub clubs before and started to shine at Stellenbosch. And my argument for this is that Steve Barker has a good technical team and the backroom staff and everything. In that, I am not going to take away anything from Steve Barker. But in my argument, to close my argument off, I said, if Steve Barker comes to Chiefs alone as he is, he will not do anything at Chiefs. Because he will not do anything at Chiefs. Right now, he's being good at Stellenbosch because Stellenbosch has no pressure. Stellenbosch is not forced to have nice, fancy results. No, they're not forced to do that. Stellenbosch can have a bad season. No one will really complain about it. They'll be like, oh, okay, at least they still have producing young players. Stellenbosch basically does not have the pressures, and he can run the club. He can help he has the people around him to help run things the way he wants to. Whereas you don't have that luxury at Chiefs. Chiefs, there's pressure. Chiefs, you have to deal with management. That is also their way. You also can't just bring your assistant. Then bringing assistants only came with Nabi. And even in that last season, Nabi wanted to bring his assistants, and Kaizer and them said no. So you see, it's not as easy as one thinks. Nabi, now Chiefs is desperate. That's why they accepted Nabi bringing his own stuff. But anyway, I wanted to say that, add that disclaimer, that I don't believe Steve Barker would be a good coach for Kaizer Chiefs unless he brings that whole backroom staff, all 10 to 15 of them. If all of those guys come, then I think he would do something better at Chiefs. But him alone, no. I don't rate him that high. Him alone as a coach, as one unit. No, I rate him more as a unit of Stellenbosch, not him alone. That's what I have to say. Amakhosi for life. You guys can say you believe me, you can say not. Put it in the comments. But I want to add a disclaimer. If you are going to respond to these things, let's keep it civil. I'm seeing a lot of people, some opinions rub them the wrong way. When I make jokes like comparing Mkhulisi to Parker, they take these things literally. Like it's just a joke. So I'm starting to realize you guys are thinking this is Super Sport and SAPC. And I'm going to tell you, it is not. This is not Super Sport. This is not SAPC. This is a channel where we share our opinions. But please don't come and attack us about things that are or attack us like we are Super Sport. So sometimes I often say, correct me if I'm wrong. But at the same time, be realistic and understand the joke. And to clarify the Modi and Mkhulisi comparison, it was simple. Modi at times would tuck in and play as a right midfielder. And Mkhulisi is an attacking midfielder. But Mkhulisi does not have assists. Mkhulisi in his whole career has created 5 goals. He has created 5 goals in his whole career, and people are defending him by saying, no, it's the things you don't see. It's the things you need to, guys. If Mkhulisi was a deep-lying 6, a deep-lying 6 like Mthethwa and something like that, we would understand. But he's not. He's an attacking midfielder. He has to have assists. He has to have box entries. He has to have crosses at times. He has to have deep assists. That is what is needed at Kaizer Chiefs. So don't bring your half baked products and think that we must accept them. Don't do that. Don't do that. If your team doesn't play them, why do you think we must play them? You know, we need an Alende at Tebogo Mokoena. Those are the kind of levels of talent we need. We don't want people to sell us their off cards. You know, and I'm not saying Mkhulisi is bad. I just think he's good enough at Sundowns to be the fifth choice. He's fine there to be the fifth choice. Don't bring him here to be the first choice at Chiefs. No.